Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Stardom. I'm your host, Jukebox Ginger, with another special guest tonight, Jay Martin. How the hell are you, man?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Worked 10 hours today. It was more like
Damn.
9.5, but it was a long day, dude.
Yeah.
I was
Jesus
ready to be off
Christ.
work.
10 hours.
Yeah. So you do stand up, but do you do anything else besides stand up?
I went to college for screenwriting, so I do that, and then I'll direct some of my own like shorter films. There's a couple on YouTube. I mean, like they've gotten to festivals and stuff. Some because they're only like 5 minutes. There's so many festivals on not on the podcast circuit, on the short film circuit, and like film fest. Like there used to be like a couple a year. Now there's like 100. So you can kind of, I like to do those, but you can like, some of them are really reputable. Some of them seems like a cash grab. So comedy festivals have the same thing, but I've been doing that. I released one last December and then one in February or March. So I'm trying to do another one, but I need to cast like a kid in it. And I don't know how to even go about doing that.
Can I borrow your kid? It might be an offensive scene, but
it's there's like a lot of casting websites now and stuff. So I put out like a job description on that, but like I just don't think I want to deal with that portion of it. But it won't work without a kid, so it's like kind of a toss up. And then you get like creepy like the kid doesn't really necessarily want to do it, but his parents are like pushing him to do it. And I'm like, this just feels like weird to like me. I'm talking to the kid's mom. I'm like, hey, can he like, she's like, how long do you like need him to film for? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, that's the thing is like, if you have adults, you can just work on a project for hours on end. With a kid, it's like, I don't even know, to be honest.
It can either go really well or it's going to take fucking 3 weeks to get to this 30-second scene. You know?
And you can tell your friends that like they suck when they like have a bad take, like, cause they're your friends. You can't tell a kid to be like, dude, fix that. Like I don't know. I don't know how to do it.
So is Dog Milk Productions, is that your thing, or is that like a group of guys?
That's just me. I mean, I'll have the same actors in it, a couple, like I've on a few different sketches, but I just like, I don't even know how it ended up being named of that, but yeah, that's just me.
That Derek Disney one, man, that was hilarious.
Thank you, man. Yeah, a couple of those kids are. Derek Disney is a big comic in the area, and then the other kid, they're all comics and they're all great. But the other guy, who's like on the other end of the table, he's kind of like the straight man in the sketch. He's like a pretty huge comic around here too. So they're wicked talented. We actually filmed that very quickly. I wish we had a little bit more time just to like let them kind of fuck around more, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun to do.
So is that just a group of comedians, like you and some other comedians that you know?
Yeah. Because like I'd rather work with comics than sometimes actor. Not that like Will, the kid in gray suit, he's a legit actor. Like he's an actor and a comedian, but like I just lean towards comedians because there's so many. It becomes kind of like a high school community type thing, and you know everybody, and like this person could do this, and this person could do this well, so you kind of like use them as resources, and they're like down to help all the time. So it's cool. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And I've noticed that doing my show, and like I said, I've had everything from comedians to B and C list, even actors. And they're all really cool, even the podcasters, but some of them I'll have them on, and the responses to some of the topics that I have are so short, the episode kind of goes quick. So it's good, but it's almost like it's not as comfortable, you know? There's almost like a tension.
Yeah, and I think the sooner, I mean, I feel like I'm a writer more than anything else. So like, I just want them to kind of do my version of what I thought it was going to be. That's why, like, if you get like an actor that just does acting, like I think they bring their own thing to the table. And I think sometimes it's more confusing to be like, hey, can you do it this way? Like, cause that's not really like, I guess as a director, you're not supposed to be like, hey, do this take this way. Comedians is a little more lenient because they don't maybe act as much. And I feel like comfortable being like, come on, man, that wasn't good. But like, and they're fun. Like, we all like dick around on set. Like most of it's just us hanging out. But I've filmed some stuff before by myself, and like I can do it like functionally, but I'm not like a talented cinematographer. So I got a cinematographer for the last couple. And it's just easier because I can hang out with like the actors, be like, hey, like this is what I'm thinking for this. We can go over shit. And he's like setting the cameras up, and I can be like, all right, I want to like have this angle instead of this angle. And like we work really well together. So it was cool to like be able to have an actual cinematographer. He's a director too, but like for me to be able to just fully direct, because that's, if you're hanging up a light and you're like sweating, trying to get everything going, and then you're like trying to also be like, hey, by the way, can you say it this way, or can you try it this way? It's hard to do all that stuff. And that's why like on sets they have like, we've made these for $0, but like on a real set, like there's people doing everything for you all the time, especially if you're directing. So
that's awesome, man.
So
I've got a collaboration. It's sort of so I got some brain fart moments where people just said the wrong thing that they were trying to say. And then I've also got some mic drop moments.
Yeah.
And that's what I picked for today's episode.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into this first one, and, wherever the episode goes, it goes. I was in a weekly family bowling league, I guess you could call it. I was up at the lane just throwing practice shots, got a few gutter balls, but I didn't care because it was just practice. All of a sudden, this lady comes out of nowhere and starts going on saying, oh, you should bowl like this. You're too young. You should be thrown like this. I was about 13. She then proceeds to granny bowl. I looked at her and said, I prefer bowling the normal way. I then throw the ball and get a strike. I turn around, look at her, and then just sit down.
So is this on like?
So I searched like Reddit's, TikTok, or Twitter threads, blogs, and I just find stories that people post.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And when I picked this one, first off, I was thinking this guy probably got a gutter and then just made the story up to make himself feel better. But
yeah, if you're bragging about like sticking it to an old lady when you're bowling on Reddit, I don't believe basically anything you're gonna say.
Yeah, and you're saying you're 13, so yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm pretty good at bowling. I average about a 214.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I have done it in a while. So if I went today, I'd probably get like a 90, and I'd be like, well, fuck.
It's deceivingly high. Like I think up here we do is candle pin with the smaller ball.
Yes.
Yeah, that's like very popular here. I've only done like real big ball bowling like a couple times. Everything's like candle pin, and it's hot. That shit goes in the gutter all the time.
I don't know if candle pin. I don't know if it's a smaller ball or if it's the pins are thinner.
It's not like a classic bowling pin. It almost like looks like this, like it's like one thing, and then the ball is tiny. The ball's like this big, or whatever.
Okay, all right. I almost did there's actually going to be like this big festival here, the year that COVID like hit. It was Irish bowling, and it was like this huge thing at a park where you take a ball and you roll it down the street, and you have these two people standing on either side, and you have to get it between the people.
That's pretty.
It's weird, but it's really just a drinking game.
Yeah. I think that's all regular bowling is.
Just get drunk.
Yeah, I was watching. I don't know, something about like who's that super famous bowler who's like out of his mind? He like slicks his hair back and he wears glasses.
I don't know.
Oh my God, I don't know what I was watching the other day, but something about that guy, and he is just like a maniac. And I guess he used to be on drugs, now he's sober, but like he's the bad boy of bowling. And I'm like, that's like an oxymoron of one thing that you can be.
You ever see Kingpin?
Yeah.
That's a good one. Who is it? Who's in that? Is it Woody Harrelson?
I think he's in it. I think Bill Murray's in it.
Yeah. Because Bill Murray is like his competition.
Yeah, he's the dude with the big. I like know more about the Big Lebowski.
Oh, dude, I love the Big Lebowski.
That's a great movie. I love their whole like attitude towards bowling. That it's like the most serious shit. Because that's like if you're bowling as an adult, just like not at a party or like some sort of function, I feel like you take bowling seriously. Mm-hmm. It's not like my friends go a lot, but I haven't been in. I just remember when we were growing up, we would do glow bowling.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as
cosmic.
Yeah. As soon as they turned the lights on, it got like sad almost, because it was like there was one side that had like this crazy like thing, and they turned the lights on the other side. I'm like, those people are just like smoking inside and doing this fucking wild shit. I don't know what their like the rest of their night looks like.
I actually was a kitchen and bar manager at a bowling alley when I was younger, and that's actually how I got pretty good at it. Is because like on the slow nights, I just open a lane and go bowl.
Yeah, that's
But
it.
you would get these guys. Dude, they were so avid about bowling
Yeah,
that if they had a bad day, it was everything but their fault. Either the lanes were too oiled,
yeah.
or there's a certain lane that they preferred, or the guy next to them was talking too loud. Just the dumbest shit.
It's funny because like I like kind of joke around about bowling, but I golf, and like they're very similar as far as like the old dude getting so mad, even though like you're like, do you think you are gonna do well? Like you look at your like body, like you're not gonna be good at this.
Yeah.
But they're like, there's always like sticklers for the rules and stuff. They seem like kind of like very similar sports as far as just like, yeah, like you said, the old guy looks at his club when he hits it in the water, as opposed to like, it's your arms and legs and like the rest of you that was the problem. But,
I disc golf. I suck at golfing, but I do disc golf.
Is that in the woods primarily? I always see people doing it, but it always seems like they're in the woods.
So you got technical courses, and then you got your drive range courses. You got the driveway are more like fairway courses. They're more in the open. There's one by my house that's like 600 feet shots. So in disc golf, it's feet rather than yards.
Okay.
But you have the different style discs. So you'll have discs that are like this that are more for like putting, and then you'll have them real thin where they're kind of sharp on the edge, so they kind of drive through the air.
Oh, I see.
But the technical courses are my favorite when you're in the woods, man, because you got to curve the discs like around the trees and shit.
Yeah, I know this kid, and he moved to Colorado or something, and his whole Instagram is that disco. What do they call it? Like banging chains?
Yes.
I heard people calling it that. That's funny.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It's free. I mean, there's like 86 courses here in Kansas City.
Really?
And they're all free. And it's so fun. Great cardio. I have this thing called a Barracuda. It looks like a pull stick holder, and it holds a 6-pack of beer.
Oh my God! See, I like how all of the games you play are just around drinking. I can get down.
I don't drink to get drunk, but I enjoy craft beer, man.
Yeah, I do drink to get drunk, unfortunately, but
well, I mean,
from time to time. I mean, the problem with us is I'm always in a bar because every night, and then you're there for, I don't know, like especially before the pandemic, even we would do like 3 open mics in a night. We'd have like, or even a show, like 4 hours. You're just hanging out at a bar. So like even if you had a beer an hour, or 2 beers an hour, you're at like 8 beers because you were just like sitting at a bar, and it's every day. So that's like when you try to be like, a lot of comics are sober, to be honest. Like they just like, I think it wears on you after a few years.
Do you think a lot of like the big name comics that act drunk on the big shows, do you think they're really sober?
What is his name on the Blue Collar Comedy Tour?
Yeah, that's who I'm referring to.
Ron White's sober.
Yes. You think he's sober?
He is. He's so. I mean, I don't know him, but he's sober. Like he was just on Rogan, I think, right?
Yeah. I saw like a pop up about it.
So if you watch that episode, he goes into it. He definitely was boozing so much, like not even doing comedy because of the pandemic. And then he got to like, it must have got to like some sort of like situation where he's not drinking, and now he'll take a fake drink on stage just because he thinks like his fans want him to, which they don't care. Like he's so good at comedy, but he's the most talented one out of like those blue collar guys. But he stopped drinking, and I think a lot of them. He's the guy in particular that like you're referring to. I don't know, like a lot of them are openly sober too. So it's I'm trying to like, I was looking up some of that stuff before because I started getting this random anxiety when we came back from the pandemic, and it was like out of the blue kind of. And I think it's because I was just getting like booked a lot before the pandemic. And then when I came back, I kind of got thrown right back into where I was after like a year of not doing it. And it's not like I was like this 10-year comedian who took a year off and then came back. Like I was like a year and a half in, then I took a year off. Then I came back and like was acting normal. And then I remember I kind of had like a mini like panic attack before one show. And it was fine. It was manageable that night. But then like, I heard from one of my buddies that if you skip stuff when you have a panic attack, because like you think you're going to have another panic attack, your brain just starts like being like, oh, we avoided like danger. We got to skip this. We got to skip this. We got to skip this. So you just get into this like bad headspace. But the reason I'm bringing that up is because I was like should I get on a pill? Like, what the fuck do I do? Because you kind of are like, and I had all these shows coming up. So I'm like, what am I supposed to, I'm not like a professional performer. Like I'm on that trajectory as far as like getting paid and stuff, but I still was like so new. And I was looking and trying to be like, are other comedians on pills? Like, are they on this? Like, that's to affect comedy writing. And you hear a lot about who's sober, but you also like, there's not a lot of information about people on like, they're still so taboo to take like an antidepressant or like a whatever. And I was very curious to see like, I was like, these people are in the same exact boat as me. And then the more you like, it's harder with famous people because they're obviously not as open about it. But the more you talk to other comedians, like, dude, I've been on that shit for this long. I've been on that shit for this long. And I'm like, It is interesting because it's like, I quit drinking X amount of years ago because I couldn't like, it's too consistent, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But that's my whole spiel with like the boozing and the stuff like that. It is, I don't know. It's this weird water because it's like you said, it's hard to know who's doing what. And then you hear this guy's been sober and then like, or especially actors, and then that guy's found dead in a hotel room from heroin or something. So you're like, when were you sober?
A lot deeper than you thought.
Yeah, when were you sober, dude?
So. All right, let's get into this next one.
All
right. This is one of those brain fart moments where they just said the wrong thing.
Okay.
I have 2 jobs, one at a coffee shop and one at a sex shop. Once while ringing out someone at the sex shop, I accidentally asked for here to go. The look on their face was priceless. Thank God they didn't choose for here.
I mean, I want to believe that that's real, but that sounds like a fucking street joke.
Yeah. I mean, I've told people, like, have you ever, like, just said, all right, see you later, or no, I'm good, but they were really asking you something totally different?
Oh, yeah. Or they're like, enjoy your flight, and you're like, you too, and they work at like a coffee shop next to the like, oh, I for sure shouldn't have said that.
I get so caught up. Like I have you ever been in Costco before, or are you familiar with Costco?
I've been in there's a Costco right near my apartment. I've been in a Costco once, but I wasn't like a member. Mm-hmm. But I don't know why we didn't end up doing it, but I think we're going, it's like a BJ's, right? Like a, do you have BJ's?
I don't even want to compare it. It's a membership club. Let's just say that.
But they have like the booze you can get there is like an unbelievable deal. It's like a huge yeah.
So it's funny because like the premium vodka there, it's like a 1.75. It's $20, but it's actually Grey Goose.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for 1.75 of it.
They're Kirkland, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they have like good golf balls, but they're like cheap.
Yes.
And people think they're like unbelievable. Like you find a lot of Kirklands when you play, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then like they said it was Costco.
Yep.
I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued by Costco. How much is it a year?
60 for a basic or 120 for an exec. If you get an exec, you get like a % back of everything you spend. So if you spend more than like, I think it's like $200 a month, you're basically making money. So, I mean, you have to shop there.
Yeah.
But if you can spend that, if you're buying stuff there, it's not hard to spend $200 there.
No.
So if you spend $200, you're making your membership back. That's basically what it is.
I think I'm gonna have to go over there.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, you know, if you don't need 80 things of toilet paper, then you know.
I think we could use it, and the booze alone, I feel like because we go to the liquor store and shit, and it's, I mean, especially like we're right in Boston, and it's brutal. It's brutal. I got a 4-pack of beer today, and it was like you said, like the craft shit, and it was like $16. And like by the time I was at the register, I'm like, I should have just gone to a bar. I could have like been at a bar, had fun, and had a beer at a bar, and instead I'm trying to buy these. It was crazy. It was nuts. But I was like, I'm not going to go back to the cooler.
What kind of craft beer do you typically do, or what kind of beer do you drink?
So I like a lager or like a Pilsner. I was an IPA guy for a couple like years, and then I think I don't know if I had too many of them. I'll still drink them to like, especially when you're having a few, and then you want to like almost slow down a little bit, something like heavy. But I do switch it up quite a bit. I like to get, not necessarily craft. I'll do craft, but like my girlfriend always laughs because she's like, we're at the bar and I'll get like a beer and then I'll get a different beer. I just like to do like an assortment, and the bartender will be like, what are you doing? Like, you've had like 4 or 5 different types of beer. And I was like, yeah, I'm just tasting them all. And they're like, oh, okay.
Well, you have like some place they'll do flights. You know what a flight is?
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
That's always cool.
We go to Portland, Maine sometimes. And they do there's a lot of like cool food places and beer places up there. They're like a very like foodie area.
Mhm.
We were actually just talking to our neighbors today because there's like this place that you go. It's just kind of like a hidden spot, but it has like a menu for beers like this big, and like they have every beer from everywhere. And
Mhm.
they like literally some of them have dust on them because if no one orders it, they have like a basement filled with beer, and
Yeah.
it's this like very crazy like thing. So
Well, the shelf life on them is ridiculous too. So,
exactly, yeah,
why
yeah.
not?
And they're such high percentages; they're basically like liquor at that point. It seems like.
Oh yeah, I like a lot of like Stone has a Imperial Stout. What's it called? Rasputin, I think is what it's called.
Is that the one with like the devil on it or something? The stone beers? Is there some
Yes,
sort of yeah?
yes,
I've seen those. Yeah,
and
those look good.
then it's like a 14% alcohol content, and it's like this just black. It almost tastes like a dark coffee.
Have you ever had Boom Sauce?
Never heard of it.
I think it's local to like Worcester. I want to say like right near in Massachusetts, but
Hmm.
it's one of those ones you've had a couple and then you feel fine and you drink this. I think it's like 9 or 10, but you don't realize it, and then you drink it and you're like, oh, I'm fucked up. And like last night I had to go on stage and I was like, oh shit, I shouldn't have the Boom Sauce because I like my tongue felt big or something. I was like, all right, what's going on? It's a
The
disaster.
worst, and I've talked about this on shows before, but Steel Reserves. You ever had a Steel Reserve?
Yes,
They're like they're a malt liquor.
yeah.
So, and like one of them, and you're like, they taste like garbage, but one of them won't fuck you up.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about because it's like the Colt 45s and shit like that. And like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I've
I
drank,
think they also got one called Camos.
yeah, I've seen
Mm-hmm.
those ones. Those are like the guys you see there. Like, I'll just have one, and they like, uh, we do a lot of like dive bar, and there's a lot of shitty liquor stores around here. So me and one of my buddies in particular, like, he loves a dive bar. So we'll just like go sit in one of those sometimes. But because a lot of the shit now is like, there's like a big line outside, or it's like some trendy thing you get like slammed into. Like, I want to see like a guy who goes there every day, and then
Mm-hmm.
I'm like sitting next to that guy. Like that, those are the guys that I'm interested in, as opposed to like these like, I don't know, fucking kids with their like rolled up pants. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of that
Rolled
going
up
on.
pants.
Rolled up pants at the like shin. There's a lot of that going on over here lately.
Not a lot of rolled up pants around here. There's a lot of skinny jeans, which I don't understand skinny jeans either.
Yeah, it's like skinny jeans, and I don't know if they're even rolled up. It's necessarily they're just short. Like, there's like you could like see the kid's like ankle, and I'm like, what is going on? And I can never get into it. I look like I put on pants like that one time, and I just looked like I was gonna like tip over. I looked like my legs were too small or something.
All right, I got another mic drop moment. Ready?
All right.
I was walking along a relatively narrow path, and a woman was walking towards me pushing a stroller. And as she got closer, I stopped and stepped to the side to let her pass. She looked at me with absolute disgust and said, "Are you stupid? The stroller isn't that big." So I looked her up and down and then hit her with, "Who said I moved over for the stroller?" and continued walking.
That's pretty good.
That's clever. Whether that's true or not, that's a good response.
Yeah, I like that.
There's a lot of people that walk around here too, and a lot of like, especially in like the wealthier neighborhoods, you get like these real prissy moms
Yeah,
that just judge everybody.
yeah. There's a lot. I'm in Charlestown in Boston, which is like Southie's more when you're like just out of college. It's kind of rowdier, and then it seems like you have a baby and move here. Like, we don't have a baby, but there's a lot of that. Like, every dude wears the exact same clothes and like has a baby of the same age. They got a dog and the stroller and the lady, and it's there's a lot of like staring up and down here, especially when we go outside with like sweatpants on and shit. Like, these people are ready all the time to like go to brunch or some bullshit like that.
And I actually grew up really religious, and it's funny how hypocritical and judgy those like that crowd is. Like,
Yeah,
especially when you really get it, the ones who are like die hard, go to church all the time. They're some of the most judgmental assholes ever.
yeah. I went to a lot of Catholic school. I went to school from like first grade to 12th grade at a Catholic school, and it pushes you away from religion almost, because it is a lot of that shit. It's like you're calling a kid an idiot in class, but you also make me be like, oh, we got to go to church and be like nice to each other. I'm like, you call this kid a dumbass? Like, I don't know what's going on here. My mom loves God. I don't not believe in it, but it's like, the other day, she actually works in my office. It's a real estate company.
Mm-hmm.
And You know how like Christian rock songs are
Oh
like
my god.
kind of
Yeah.
vague. Like if you hear like part of it, you wouldn't even know it was a Christian rock song. But then
Yeah.
you're like, who are they talking about in all these lyrics? And I'm like, is this about God? And I said to my mom, I go, is this a God? I don't know if I said God damn it. I go, is this a fucking Christian rock station? And she goes, what? And she like knew, because we're like pretty irreverent, like me and my brother. And she's like, I like it. I go, shut this off. What are you doing right now? Because she's getting more towards it, and I'm like, all right, no one's getting mad at you for going to church and doing what you want to do, but this is crazy. Like, we're not doing this at the office.
It's like they're trying to blend it to make people not realize what.
That's what it is. And I go, who is this guy they're talking about? I'm like, this is Jesus. And I'm like, shut this off. We're doing something else.
Skillet.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Skillet?
I haven't. No.
Skillet's pretty popular. They sound like they're trying to be like Breaking Benjamin or Chevelle almost kind of sound.
Oh yeah.
And I mean the music's all right, but like when you listen to the lyrics, you're just like, no. like you were saying that, turn off.
I think I've seen Chevelle live before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what, like, I'm not even like that big of a concert person, but I think they were with like Trapped. I was in like 8th grade, like Trapped.
That sounds pretty accurate.
And they were fucking loud. Mm-hmm. They were so loud. Chevelle was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think it might have been a Nickelback concert that we left before Nickelback.
Oh, dude, I'm about to end this episode.
Yeah, no, I think it was Chevelle, Trapped, and Nickelback, and we watched Chevelle and Trapped, and then left. We had like free tickets, and we didn't stay for Nickelback.
I don't know why you would.
Yeah, I was like, we heard enough of this.
I mean, I talk shit about Nickelback because I'm a death metal fan. I like heavy rock and death metal, but I mean, more props to them. They're huge, but not my thing.
yeah, I don't think they're.
They remind me. They're like the Rascal Flatts of rock.
Yeah. See, I've even like, I don't know. I'll listen to anything, but like I've listened to like Creed recently because it's so fucking funny, dude. We saw Creed. There's a bar in Lawrence, Massachusetts, which is a horrible city. It's where my high school was, but it's like the worst. It's so shitty lately. Like there's so much crime. And we saw, who's the lead singer of Creed? Scott Stapp. Mm-hmm. We saw Scott Stapp in this bar that might, like, I've done stand-up in way bigger places than this. This bar might have held like 60 people where the like concert was. And this dude is just pouring his heart out at this 60-person bar. And I'm like, first of all, this guy rips. These songs are all so like catchy and radio pop like bullshit, but they're so like funny to hear. And this guy was sweating like God knows. He said he was sober, no shot. He was sweating, giving it his all. And I'm like, I can't believe this guy was like opening for the Super Bowl or like at the halftime of the Super Bowl, and now he's at a bar with nobody here. It was insane. That, and we saw oh my God, who's the other not weird band? Who the fuck are they? Who sings like, I have to figure this out. We can go to the next one. I got to figure out who this was, though. I'm going to lose my mind.
All right, it's fine. You can always pop back.
I will.
All right, let's see here. One time I went to hand someone a bowl of hot soup, and my brain tried to say, careful, it's hot, and here's your soup. And instead it came out, careful, it's soup.
That's very up my alley with that type of humor. Heads up, this is soup.
Yeah, no, I've been bartending and working as I've served and bartended for quite a while, and that's like daily. You catch yourself saying, because you're dealing with like upwards of 12 to 15 customers on a busy during a busy night.
Yeah.
So you get mixed up on orders and you just say the dumbest shit.
Yeah, dude, more power. That's the service industry in general is just like, especially now, I couldn't even imagine.
Well, before COVID, like if you worked at the right place, I was bringing home $1,200 cash a week.
Nice,
but I had no insurance. I had no 401k. There's no, and I was blowing the money. Because I had it all the time. Like I just had money on me constantly. So I mean, it was great, good money. I enjoyed doing it, but
that's a good job for a comedian because you get so much material. Plus, you're like. You gotta get good at talking on your feet. There's so much I worked at a liquor store and I was a valet a couple years back, and those were just both liquor stores insane.
I imagine you deal with some pretty like off the wall drunk people too.
Oh my god, the people you don't realize how many people are drinking all day. Like old ladies would come in and get nips and like put them in their purse. I'm like, this lady's just been like you never even know she was drinking, but she was boozing. We had people come in, and a lot of like a lot of the alcoholic move is like they won't buy a bottle because they know they'll chug it, so they would buy nips. And I had this poor guy would come in at like 5, we'd shoot the shit. He'd get 2. They all drink Smirnoff too. He'd have like 2 Smirnoff nips. Then he'd come back an hour later. He'd get like 3. Then he'd come back an hour later and get 3. Then he'd come back an hour later and get 3. And it's like, and by the end, he's not even talking to you. He's just like giving you cash and you're giving him the nips. But it's like, he was just like, because they.
Now, when you say nips, are you talking about like the shooters?
Yeah. Sorry. I know
right.
it's like nips up here for some reason, but yeah.
Okay.
Also, that band was Fuel.
Nice. There you go.
They were also great. They were crazy. Yeah. And it's like, what do you say?
Go ahead.
No, it's just so loud in like a small venue like that I was like, they were very entertaining. I'm not like that. I don't even know where they fall on the spectrum, but I was like, they're very good in this for a bar. You know what I mean?
Well, and I saw Puddle of Mud.
Oh, yeah.
And I was never huge on them, but they did a fantastic show. So it was like, I respect them. They did a great show.
Dude, I saw fucking Coldplay. Because I keep getting like, my grandpa used to have a box at one of these like weird arenas, and like a lot of people would come, like good, and then they started like it was just turned into just monster trucks. But when they were still booking acts, I saw Coldplay live. I mean, I didn't even know any of their music. They rip live. They're like, the guy never stops moving. He's like dancing all around the stage. I'm like, this guy's like pretty good at this. But then you hear him in like Walmart on the speaker, and you're like, they're not very good.
You're like, no.
Yeah. I saw Rod Stewart one time. You know that guy?
Oh, no shit. Yeah.
Dude, that guy just starts booting soccer balls like the entire, like in the middle of one of the songs, he's just kicking soccer balls across the whole arena. And I'm like, I think I just get tricked by live performance, to be honest. I just like seeing people singing.
I saw Incubus live, and they did a fucking good job too.
Really?
I mean, he really gets into some of those songs, especially, 100-degree weather around here. It gets really hot.
Yeah.
And it's like 100 degrees. He's dripping in sweat, and he's just he's just making love to the fucking microphone. You're just like, what the fuck? But it's good, man. I don't know that I could. There's a reason why I listen to death metal, because I can't sing for shit.
Yeah. Are you in a band or anything?
No. I just actually Jukebox Ginger. I created that name just because I can start a conversation with anybody. Just say, hey, what kind of music do you like? And most likely, I know bands in that genre because I listen to so much.
Yeah. I feel.
I don't. There's not a whole lot that I don't listen to. I don't like a lot of older country, or new. Well, I don't like a lot of newer country. I can stand older country.
Yeah.
I don't like new rap. I like a lot of older rap.
A lot of the new rap's so goddamn bad.
Mm-hmm.
I
saw
bad.
Cypress Hill live a couple times.
Damn. Yeah.
They were awesome. Snoop, Tupac, it's older stuff.
Yeah.
Bone Thugs. I love that kind of stuff. I don't like the newer stuff. I grew up listening to a lot of gospel country, which is probably why I don't like country.
Yeah.
How about you?
I like everything, and especially like if you're thinking of like a movie or something, I like to think of a music like within. So that's why like every movie has so many different types of songs or whatever. I like to like think of it in those like when I'm thinking of an idea, I think songs help, but I don't know. I like rap. I like a lot of like old shit. I listen to the same thing over and over again. I love Nirvana. I actually love Mac Miller. I listened to Mac Miller in college, and he was like a frat rap type guy.
Yeah.
And then the trajectory he took in music, and it sucks so bad that he died because he got like so into drugs, and then it got like a little bit like too much. But like he has a couple albums that I think were like you can tell they're super like Beatles inspired type shit, but they're so good. He's not a singer, but like I don't know if you necessarily have to. But you could like if you listen to his shit and like listen to his lyrics, and then the fact that he died on top of it is great. He's like a poet, but like it didn't come out until like after he like did the frat thing, then started like doing an insane amount of drugs, that kind of got sober. He's another guy who's like sober-ish and then like died.
Yeah.
But dude, I would recommend, and you might think they're trash because they are specific, but Circles and Swimming are the last two albums. Circles got released after he died, but Swimming is unbelievable. And then Faces is a mixtape that they're starting to like release stuff now that he's dead, because he was like very prolific. Like he has so many songs that he recorded, like a lot of stuff he never even released. But I love that guy. I have been listening since he died, basically like constantly, because there's so much in his lyrics, and he's like, you think about it, he started doing it when he was like 19, which is a lot of these dudes. But and yeah, I love Nirvana. The Montage of Heck documentary, have you seen that before?
No.
On HBO. It's sick. That's another thing I highly recommend.
I have HBO, so I should
watch it. They basically took like all his notebooks, and he did a lot of like just audio recordings of himself and stuff like when he was younger, and they'll like, if they don't have footage with it, they'll just animate it. So there's like it's like perfect. I've watched it at least 10 times. I love it.
No shit.
Yeah.
I'll have to watch it.
Give it a shot, man.
I like Nirvana, so I'm sure I'll enjoy it. I like documentaries depending on what it is.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, next up. Don't mistake this fake smile and professional body language. I'd punch you in the throat if I knew I wouldn't lose my job.
That sounds like you could almost say that at Costco sometimes.
Yeah, that's probably why I picked it.
Do you run into shit like that? What do you do there specifically?
So I hate talking too much about my work, only because if this ever becomes like a thing, I don't want to get in trouble. And I think it might. I actually have Wee Man coming on in a couple weeks.
Fuck yes, dude.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped about it.
Steve-O's podcast is great.
Yeah. No, I listen to some of his. And the thing is, I reach out on Instagram and Twitter to every celebrity I can find, whether I like them or not, because I don't, I'm cool with anybody. Like I don't, you and I met a couple days ago on Twitter and never really talked, but we're talking like we've fucking known each other for a while.
Yep.
I can talk to anybody, even if I don't agree with you. I'll play it off for the episode.
Yeah, I like it, dude.
But he's the first one who responded. Well, Patton Oswalt responded, and he was nice, but he was like, "Nah, I'm good." I feel like there's like certain people hit a certain level of fame, and they just unless they're making money, they have no interest in wasting their time.
There's a kid from Boston who's like really doing it with like a lot of like underground rappers, but you can tell he's like getting enough traction now where he's like kind of creeping up. You know what I mean? Like if I was to recommend someone to you, and then that person like comedian wise, like you could probably get hot. I mean, you definitely could get higher than me, but this kid's doing that with the rappers, and he's starting to. I mean, he has like 1,000 subscribers, I think, which is where you need to get on that trajectory where it's like that's where you can kind of monetize. I don't know a lot about it.
I'm starting to. I've definitely been climbing. Like my YouTube analytics yesterday were like 1,400 views in 28 days, which is big for me.
Yeah.
And again, I just started this for the fun of it. So,
and it's not like it's not an overnight thing. Like even
I've been doing this October of 19.
Nice.
Sorry, hold on, 20. So just over a year.
But they said like Rogan used to like. I mean, he was always a comedian and like an actor, but they said he used to like do this shit in like a hotel room, like in between shows or after shows, and they'd be like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm doing a podcast." Like, what is a podcast?
Well, that's before it was a thing. Exactly. COVID hits and like everybody starts podcasts. Celebrities,
I know,
comics, just galore. So unless you have like a specific niche or you just have a following already, it's hard to really get a ground going.
Yeah, and I think it's also something to be said for like you're gonna get better doing it as you do it. So by the time like you even get like some notoriety, now you're like good at it on top of it. That's why
I've gotten so comfortable with this too. Like I think this is like my 33rd episode, and it's just natural. And it's not hard to do the shows because once I think of the topic that I want to do, it's harder to find because you go on Reddit and you have these threads and there's thousands of them and half of them are just garbage. So you do have to kind of weed through them to find the good ones, but it's not hard. If you're really into it and you know what you're looking for, it's not that hard to come up with an episode.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So, and I'm actually working on a game show podcast that I'm probably going to shoot out next month called Burn After Playing. And it's basically a segment-based show where they're adult versions of kid games. and so they're all like scenarios, and then you got to play them out with the guests, and I think it's going to be big, especially because I wouldn't call them clients, but people that have been on that are willing to come back on. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's cool.
All right, you ready for the next one?
Yeah.
All right. My twin brother's girlfriend's friend Jay saw me out having margaritas with a coworker and reported back saying that my brother was cheating on her. After he denied it and his girlfriend believed him, Jay saw me in the market and came up to me, slapped me, and told me I was a lying pig. I showed her my driver's license and explained I was his twin brother, and she stood there in silence for a bit. I called her a twit and walked off.
Yeah.
So he was like the identical twin brother, and she didn't even know he had one.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's I wonder if that's happened in real, like, I mean, that definitely could be true, but I wonder if that's like happened, like people switching places and stuff.
I feel like it had, like, I'm sure there's got to be some story where somebody accidentally slept with the other one and the other, the sister or the brother just didn't give a fuck, so they just went along with it.
Yeah, and no matter what, you can always sort of at least try that as a defense. Like if you do cheat on your significant other with their like sister, you can just be like, "Well, I thought it was you." You know what I mean?
Well, and I think that it would depend too on if it was a girl. So if you're the boyfriend and his twin sisters, then you're gonna be in a lot of trouble. But if it's dudes and it's one girl, you'd be like, "Sorry, man,"
Yeah.
And the brother's gonna be like, "Yeah, well, fuck you, man." That's what the girls are gonna have a lot harder time.
That's true. That's true.
At least I think. I mean,
the twins have the same dicks.
That's a good question. I guess it depends on if they're identical or not.
I guess I'll have to hit that on Google after. Well, I don't really want to Google like twin dicks. But
yeah, you're gonna end up with some weird.
I am curious now, like, because that would be like, I know that. I mean, if they're identical, it's got to be, everything's got to be identical for the most part, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because there are the little traits on some of them that are different. Like, there's a guy at my work, he's got an identical twin, and from a distance they look exactly the same. But if you see them both next to each other, it's like, okay.
Yeah. Well, they're a little more. Yeah.
It just depends. As far as that goes, I don't know if I would look that deep into it. I'd probably be like, "Hey, man, is your guys' dicks exactly the same?"
Yeah. Do you guys have the same dicks? Yeah. I think that there should be more. Twins should be studied more than they are. It is a crazy thing that I feel like we've all gotten used to. It's a crazy there's just two of the same people, basically, more or less, and then we don't. And I want to do I'd like to do older, old timey experiments on them more, where it's like, I don't know, they just like race each other first. Let's just start there instead of
It'd be like some stupid experiments, like racing each other.
Yeah, race each other. See, I don't know who can punch something harder. I want to really do some 5th grade science project type experiments, because we don't appreciate twins enough for how crazy it is that they're the same look exactly the same.
Anymore, it's just there's so much going on and you don't even really think about it.
There's too much stuff going on with it. We're not even. That's like I was thinking about they're saying that Elon Musk is going to take us to Mars. Dude, we don't go to Iceland. It's here. We can just do that first. Then we can go to Mars later. Let's poke around Iceland a little bit more.
No shit. I had a guy on from Iceland, and his name's Einar Haraldsson. He's real cool. He used to be an officer. But I just couldn't imagine living in Iceland. I'd go visit, but I don't think I'd ever live there.
But there's parts of Iceland that if you almost got, I bet, in a rocket with Elon Musk, and he just I don't know, took it down the street and tried to convince you that you're in space.
You'd be blindfold you, and
yeah, hey, you get out in Iceland, you're probably like, oh shit, I'm on Mars, I mean, I don't know. I just he's an interesting character.
I heard there's a place in Canada that's like that. Like there's a certain area of Canada apparently looks exactly like the surface of the moon from what we know. Damn. Part all the conspiracy theories and shit.
Oh my god, yeah. Those are getting out of hand now.
Oh, well, why not?
I think I tweeted the other day, I have a conspiracy theory that not every single thing is a conspiracy. Because at this point, it's every single thing that happens is a conspiracy, which is interesting enough for sure. But
one of the segments on the game that I'm going to come up with is called Haven't You Heard? And it's basically you're creating rumors. I mean, that's basically what the conspiracy theory is. Yeah. Just creating a rumor.
Have you looked into have you seen any of the flat earth people?
Yes, I've been wanting to, and I've had podcasters that are interested. I want to do a flat Earth episode, but I want to get a flat earther on there, but I want to get somebody who wants to argue it because I think the whole thing's off the wall. I think it's hard to sit here. You're going to have a hard time proving to me that it's flat.
I saw something, and I don't know if it was like, I mean, who knows what it was. It was like kind of like a man. Oh, there's a kid on Vice who has like very like crazy hair. I don't remember what he exactly does, but he kind of goes around to like these like convention-y type things. Like, and he went to a flat earth convention. He kind of interviews people. And the more he pressed people, right? Like he would press them. And like they all got to a certain like end point where like they had nothing else, like no more evidence. And they would like just blame Jewish people. They'd be like, it's Jewish people. And like, and he had like more than one person do it. And it's like, that's the end of the flat earth thing is you just are blaming Jewish people for like lying to the earth. It was very like eye-opening and like, how the fuck is this where you're getting to? I don't know.
Well, in my mind, I think it's not like, I'm sure there's some that really do believe it's flat, but I feel like a majority of the believers really are just trying to argue that it's not round, or that you believe it's round because you're told it's round. But no, that you can physically fly a drone up. You know, we can do it ourselves. You can buy a drone and fly it up and see that the earth is round. Like, it's not.
I just think that there was like a time in history where the internet didn't exist, and like a lot of these people who now get to say whatever they want on Reddit, like or Twitter, whatever, they used to just be like, they'd try to talk to someone at like a party or like a gathering, and then no one would listen to them, and they'd like go stand in the corner because like that's what they had to bring to the table. And now those people like can find each other or like have a place to type their insane thoughts. And it's like, I don't know. I think we're headed in a bad direction in general.
I 100% agree.
Oh, we are.
Social media is only getting worse. I mean,
it's, and like half of it's not even like American people talking to each other about America, like complaining about voting. And they're like it's like bots and all this other shit. I don't know.
Even the news, man, it's so controlled. Like,
so controlled.
You can argue that it's not, but you're an idiot. I mean, it is controlled. It's obviously controlled. They're only putting the shit on there that they want you to know.
Yeah. Which has always been the case to an extent, but now it seems more like on both sides, like very swayed towards just, but that's the business model. The business model now is getting you to click on something. So you just have to say wild shit or you're going to go out of business. I don't know. It's bad.
All right. I got one more story.
Okay.
And then we'll bullshit for a few more minutes and wrap it up.
Sounds good.
Accidentally tripped an old lady. I meant to say, I'm so fucking sorry. And are you okay? What came out was, are you fucking sorry?
I mean, I hope that. I love that. Careful, this is soup.
That guy should be a comedian.
Are you fucking sorry?
How dare you trip over me?
That's great.
Never tripped anybody. I did have an employee that was a complete bitch, and she dropped a case of Frappuccinos, the Starbucks Frappuccinos, and she goes to pick it up, and I walk past her, and she's like, "Oh, you're not going to help me?" And I'm like, "You want to help me?" And I just kept walking. You know, it's like, yeah, it's true though. I mean, she wouldn't have helped me, so why the fuck am I gonna help you?
I heard it was like a candle sale the other day at I don't know, Bath and Body Works or something. Like you get a candle, my girlfriend made me go with her, and we're there, and she's like making me smell these candles. But these two employees were going at it, like kind of like passive aggressively. They're like, she's like, "Hey, thanks for helping me clean up last night," and the guy's like, "Oh, you stayed after?" And she's like, "Yeah, I was here till 11." And the guy's like, "Well, I just left. You know, I was done being at work." And she's like, "Well, you could have helped." And he's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "This must happen a lot."
Yep, I could have.
He's like, "I went home, man. I went home."
Have you ever worked retail or anything like that?
The liquor store.
Yeah, liquor store. Yes.
The valet. I worked at a butcher shop too.
A butcher shop. That'd be fun.
Yeah, it was. I was not good at it. You had to make sandwiches, and I sucked at making sandwiches. I was bad at it.
You didn't lay it right, man.
Well, they were like screaming. I'm like quarter Italian, but they like screaming Italian cold cuts at me, and I was like, I don't know which fucking one of these is which. And I'm like, yeah, man, bologna again, bro. I don't
know. So what? How'd you get into comedy?
Dude, I don't even really know. I remember I've been writing it since I was like 16. I don't know. I loved Dave Chappelle. I like his show, but I loved his stand-up. His first 2 specials are my like favorite specials. And I loved Bill Burr. And they were like not that. I mean, Chappelle was pretty famous by that point, but Bill Burr was not that famous. And I remember I used to make my friends watch it. I'm like, you guys got to see this. And like and they liked comedy too, but I was like, you got to see this guy. And I would like sit someone down and be like, watch all of this. And I got in like trouble in school here and there, but I would always like, I wasn't really the class clown, but like I knew I could like, I don't think I was necessarily always like the funniest kid, but I knew I could like write stand up. So I would like do that. And I remember we were like 19 and me and my buddies were trying to go to some like 18 plus bullshit club, and we couldn't get in because they were like full. So we ended up like all doing stand up upstairs. And they were like, I remember vividly them trying to come up with jokes like before we were going to do this open mic. And I'd already had like all these things on my phone. So I'm like, all right, I'm good to go. And they're like, are you going to like, so that was my entry into it. And then I went to college for screenwriting, and I hadn't done stand up, but like, I always had this like weird, like I can do stand up when I want to. Like, I'm not, I probably should have stayed with it when I was 20, but I don't know, man. You see a lot of stuff. Like, this comedy's changed even so much since I've started. And then I remember like I would do like a competition or something once a year, but that's not how it works. Like, you do stand up every day. Like, you got to go all the time, put in the work. So when I was like 20, it was like 2018 ish it actually might have been March of 2019. I'm like, I'm going every single day, no matter what. And then, I got like pretty lucky where like, you know, if you're good and you have jokes, which sometimes like, dude, people don't have any jokes. Like, if you go to an open mic, like they have their idea of what comedy should be, but it's not close. And I kind of got like, I worked my way up. Well, I felt like fairly quickly, but it's still like not like, I have a lot of people come up to me, my uncles, and be like, hey, how much do you get paid? And I'm like, no, that's not what this is for. It's not. It's like people paying you to go bowling. Like, it's not. You're just doing it. If you're in the game, and if that's why you're doing it, you should not. Like, between parking tickets and how much I've spent on beers and shit, like I am thousands of dollars in the hole.
Yeah.
But no, I just love it, man. It's like a community. Like I said, that anxiety thing when I came back I was like, I'm never gonna be able to do this again. But worked through it, got on, figured some shit out, and now I'm back in it. And I did. You found me on Twitter. Twitter was kind of the only thing during the pandemic that I was like, I would write funny stuff, but like I didn't have any followers and I didn't know how to like do it really. So I just would follow like a bunch of comedians, and then a lot of people will follow you back. Like, I didn't really feel comfortable doing it on Instagram, but a lot of people will follow you back on Twitter. And then the people who followed me back, I would keep following, obviously. And then like after like a month, I kind of go down my list and like, all right, none of these people follow me back. So let's like unfollow them, just because I didn't unfollow the people who would like follow me. But so I kind of got like, I would at least be like, all right, if I follow 500, I'm going to wait. How did I do it? I think I was like, if I have say like 100 followers, I'm not going to follow more than 200 people. And I would kind of just like half it the whole time. And I think there's like a weird limit, like at 5,000, they like, you got to get more followers before you can follow anyone else. So I've ended up getting, I think I'm at like around 6,000, like getting close to 7,000. But like, I'm not doing it just for the followers. Like, I have like jokes with it. So I'm like, and I like just the aspect of like writing shit, you know what I mean? And just seeing like, I don't do a ton of the retweeting. I don't do like, I just want to be like, all right, this is just a feed of like jokes for the most part. So that was something that I just worked on during the pandemic because there's nothing else to do. And I'm like, Twitter at some point will get like cool. But yeah, it's not, I mean, I'm glad comedy's back because I don't need like, I did Zoom a couple times. That shit is for the birds. It's so hard. It's just not.
And I'm trying to use it because there's platforms you can use for, especially for podcasting, to stream stuff, and there's one where you can overlay, like you can pull the camera feed from Zoom. But it's still like a work in progress. I'm still learning how to do it, which is why I didn't do it tonight.
Yeah.
But yeah, Zoom's not. I mean, all this, none of it's really easy.
But I'm talking about doing comedy, stand-up comedy on Zoom is impossible. So I was doing I did 2, I think, shows on Zoom. So you have like all these little boxes of people at their house watching you do comedy, and I'm sitting like this. I'm like, it doesn't work.
I feel like the interaction. It's not like, I feel like you need the interaction, and it's not there when people are just sitting in front of a camera.
You need the interaction, and I think I have like an awkwardness on stage that like works on a stage. It doesn't work in a computer when I'm telling, like some of my jokes are like, I can send you like a tape or something, but like some of my jokes are like, I don't know, it's like being nervous about something or whatever. And that nervousness works in this environment. It doesn't work when you can actually see like just a nervous face. It's just weird. It's not meant to be. I did a lot of outdoor shit during the pandemic. That's also stupid, because it's not stupid. It's way better than Zoom, but it's not good when you're doing comedy to like be in daylight or see someone, like seeing the entire audience's faces perfectly. Like a lot of the time you got a big light and you can't really tell until you're on stage with blasting you in the face. And I'm like comfortable doing that now. That's what I was doing. Now, like some of these shows, like you're outside, it's like 5 p.m. in the summer and you can just see everyone. You're like, this person likes it, this person doesn't. You get in your own head a little bit about it. But
so where can people find you? I mean, Twitter and I'm just guessing, is Dog Milk Productions the only YouTube you got, or?
That's the only YouTube I have, yep. And then I have an Instagram. I have followers on it, but it's more just like people I know, but I'm open to whoever, but that's Jay Martin, is Jay Martin 1000, because I guess all the other ones were taken. I don't exactly know what happened. Yeah. And then Steak_Jones on Twitter. And
Twitter seems to be great for interacting. So
I love it. I do like it just because it is like anything goes, really, as far as like it's people aren't scared to like shit. It's not, I don't know. Sometimes Instagram feels like creepier because like I don't know who this person even is.
It's almost like a blend between Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook, and it's like this weird.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say middle. It's just a little. It's just weird.
Yeah. And now like they're all blending into like TikTok has like
Meta.
Yeah, that, and then like, but they all have like the a version of TikTok on them except Twitter. I think like Instagram has like Reels, which is Twitter. Like I'll post a stand-up clip for my friends or whatever on Twitter, and it'll get like 100 likes or something. But then like I'll put it on Reels, and like I'll get 100 likes, and then like a couple days later I'll get another 100 likes, and it's like, where are these coming from? And who's or like 3 weeks after I post it, I'll get likes, and I'm like, who's watching this? But there's some these algorithms, they're all like designed to like make you go viral now, even if like it's not truly viral. It's very weird, but
all right, man. Well, I hate to cut it off, but you know, I run them about an hour long, and
hell yeah,
I'm getting pretty tired. So
no problem, dude. I talked your ear off there.
Yeah, no, and hey, I'd love to have you back on. I do have repeat guests, so if you ever want to come back on, I'd love to have you on again.
Yeah, for sure, man. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And when I get this game show up, if you're interested in coming on that one, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, let me know.
All right, man. Well, I'm gonna get out of here.
All right, man. Have a good one.
You too.